All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about the #1 cause of death for people with diabetes, and yet it's so often pushed to the side. We're not talking about kidney failure or blindness, as serious as those are. No, we are diving deep into the unspoken killer, the biggest threat of them all, the incredibly powerful and dangerous link between diabetes and your heart.
This quote right here, it should fundamentally change how you think about managing your diabetes. It just cuts right to the chase. The ultimate goal isn't just about getting your blood sugar numbers in line, it's about survival. And this shows that for anyone with diabetes, the real life-or-death battleground is your cardiovascular system.
So what does that risk actually look like in real numbers? Well, this says it all. If you have diabetes, your risk of having a heart attack, a stroke, or developing heart failure is 2 to 4 times higher than someone without it. Now, that is not a small number. It is a massive, massive multiplier. But, and this is the most important part, it's a multiplier that you have the power to change.
And that is the big question, right? Hearing the stats is one thing, but to really fight back, you have to understand the enemy. How does a condition that we think of as being about blood sugar launch such a devastating attack on our most vital organ? Let's break it down.
Well, the thing is, it's not just one problem. Diabetes creates what you can only really describe as a perfect cardiovascular storm. It doesn't just attack from one direction, it hits your heart and blood vessels from multiple angles, all at the same time. And that's exactly what makes it so dangerous.
So check this out. This is how the attack works. First, all that extra sugar in your blood creates these nasty molecules. They're called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, that literally make your blood vessels stiff and brittle. That high sugar also damages the super delicate, smooth inner lining of your arteries. And once that lining is damaged, it's like creating potholes on a highway, which lets cholesterol plaque build up way faster. And if that wasn't enough, it also creates this constant low-grade inflammation all over your body and makes your blood stickier, raising the risk of a clot. It's a full-on assault.
And here's the kicker. Diabetes almost never shows up to the party alone. It brings along this whole gang of other risk factors. Look at these numbers. Up to 80% of people with type 2 diabetes also have high blood pressure. 70% have unhealthy cholesterol, and a whopping 90% are dealing with obesity. Now, each one of these is bad news on its own. But when you put them all together with diabetes, they don't just add to the risk, they multiply it, creating this incredibly dangerous perfect storm that you and your doctor absolutely have to get under control.
Okay, this next part is, well, it's kind of scary, but you absolutely have to know about it. We all have this picture in our heads of a heart attack being this dramatic, crushing chest pain, right? But for people with diabetes, that's often not what happens. The same nerve damage, that neuropathy that can make your feet feel numb, it can also damage the nerves that go to your heart. And that can completely mask the classic pain signals of a heart attack.
So please burn these symptoms into your memory. For you, a heart attack might feel like a sudden, overwhelming fatigue that you just can't explain. Or maybe you're getting winded just walking to the mailbox. It could feel like bad indigestion that just won't go away, or even pain in your jaw, your neck, or your arm. And you have to trust that gut feeling of just not feeling right. Knowing this isn't about being paranoid, it's about being prepared. This could literally save your life.
Okay, so we've laid out the problem, and yeah, it is serious. But if there is one single message you take away from this, it's that this risk is not set in stone. You are not a helpless passenger on this journey. You are the pilot. So let's shift gears from the problem to the solution. Let's get into your defensive playbook. A clear set of actions you can start taking today to protect your heart.
All right, #1 on our playbook, blood pressure. For most people, the target might be a little higher, but for people with diabetes, the guidelines are stricter for a really good reason. Think about it. That constant high pressure is so much more damaging to blood vessels that are already vulnerable. That's why the goal is less than 130/80. Hitting this number is one of the most powerful things you can do to lower the daily strain on your heart and prevent a heart attack or stroke.
Next up, the number every single person with diabetes knows, your HbA1c. For most people, the goal is to keep it below 7%. And here's where your power really comes in. Big studies have shown that for every single percentage point you drop your A1C, like going from an 8 down to a 7, you slash your risk of a major cardiovascular event by about 15 to 20%. That is a huge return on your investment.
Okay, let's talk cholesterol. Specifically, we're talking about that LDL, the bad cholesterol. Now, your personal target might be different, but for anyone who already has heart disease or is at very high risk, the goal is aggressive, getting that LDL number below 70. This almost always means using a medication like a statin, and that's because they are a cornerstone of heart protection in diabetes. They're just incredibly good at stopping that dangerous plaque from building up in your arteries.
So let's put it all together. Here is your 6-point defense plan. Controlling your glucose, your blood pressure, and your cholesterol. Those are your non-negotiable medical foundations. Then we add the lifestyle powerhouses. If you smoke, quitting is the single biggest impact you can have, period. Aim for 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week, that's just over 20 minutes of brisk walking a day. And eat a diet that's proven to work, like the Mediterranean style. These 6 steps are your shield.
Okay, now for something that is a total game changer in diabetes care. This is seriously exciting stuff. For decades, the main goal of a diabetes drug was just to lower blood sugar. That's it. But now, we have a whole new class of medications that do more. They actively protect the heart itself, often in ways that have nothing to do with their sugar-lowering effects. Let's take a look.
So these are the 2 main classes that are changing everything. On one side, you have the SGLT2 inhibitors. They are claim to fame, a jaw-dropping 30 to 35% reduction in being hospitalized for heart failure. That's huge. On the other side are the GLP-1 agonists. These are proven to reduce the risk of major events like heart attacks and strokes by 12 to 14%, and as a bonus, they usually help with weight loss too. The key thing to understand is that these drugs have a direct protective effect on your heart, separate from just lowering your sugar.
And this, right here, this quote sums up the entire revolution in diabetes care. It is no longer good enough to just get your A1C down. The new standard of care is to pick treatments that also actively shield your heart and your kidneys from damage. This is a conversation you absolutely must have with your doctor. You need to ask, is my current medication plan doing everything it can to actively protect my heart?
So you're probably thinking, wow, that's a lot of moving parts to keep track of. And you're right. But the key is to track them together, not as separate problems. When you can actually see how that week of walking didn't just help your glucose, but also brought your blood pressure down, that's when you get those aha moments. You start to connect the dots and see the full picture of your risk, which means you can have way more productive conversations with your doctor.
And that's exactly where modern tools can make a real difference. A platform like My Healthcareware is designed specifically for this, to help you pull all those numbers into one place, see the connections automatically, and get a clear, data-driven view of your heart health that you can share with your care team. It just helps everyone make better, more informed decisions.
So I want to leave you with one final question to really think about. After everything we've talked about today, just take a moment and honestly ask yourself, is my current plan just about managing a number, or is it a complete strategy designed to actively protect my heart for the long haul? And of course, we have to end with a really important reminder. This is all for educational purposes. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice from your own doctor. Please talk to your healthcare team about your specific situation. And it goes without saying, if you ever experience symptoms like chest pain, shortness of breath, or any of the others we talked about, seek immediate emergency medical care. Thank you so much for your time, and we truly hope this has been helpful.